It is an ill wind that brings the Stormcaller alone to the Slayer.
The voice was hoarse with age, but no less strong for it. The growling timbre earned through 10 centuries of battle. Its owner could not be seen, but Njal sensed him. His spirit was the eager panting of a wolf at bay, emanating from one of the wood-panelled reliquaries that lined the far end of the hall. The columns holding the panels were carved in the likeness of stacked skulls, alternating wolf and human, and geometric knotwork crisscrossed the timbers between.
"Astute as always, Ulrich,"
said the rune priest.
I need no ear to know that only grave concern would force you here, rather than the neutral ground of Logan's halls. I am the guardian of the chapter's spirit and law, and you have not had need to call upon me in private since you ascended to your rank. That you do now. Well, I have lived a long time, and by far these are the most troubling I have witnessed. I am not surprised it has come to this.
The speaker emerged from the relic hoard with an alien skull in his hands, the elongated structure of an Eldar, with rubies set into the eye sockets, and sigils of vengeance carved into the sharp bones of the cheeks and on the forehead. Njal could feel the wrath of the space wolf that had slain the Xenos still beating within the artifact. The hands that held the relic were thick, gnarled like old branches, with nails painted black and a wolf tattoo sat on the back of each. More markings decorated the forearms, some of them beautifully rendered wolf's heads, skulls and sigils, others crude scratches. The rest of Ulrich's flesh was hidden under a long, heavy black robe. Like the chamber, his outfit was a dichotomy, monkish habit and the garb of a Fenrisian lawmaster. A rope bounded at the waist, hung with imperial insignia and more wolf talismans, the cuffs and hem embroidered with silver thread in intertwined knotwork. He wore a necklace of fangs and animal skulls, but the pendant was a Crux Terminatus, awarded to the greatest warriors of the Imperium. At his waist hung another badge of imperial office, the Crozius Arcanum of a Space Marine chaplain. By such a rank were the wolf priests viewed by others. In reality, a poor summary of their lauded position with the Space Wolves. With this label, the Adeptus Terra pretended they understood, and so tolerated the wolf priest's existence and the creed they espoused. Though it contained a power field capable of disintegrating flesh and shattering bone, the Crozius' real strength was as a symbol of unity between the Space Wolves and the Imperium. Ulrich's face was as craggy as the mount upon which his tower sat, pocked and scarred in many places. Braided strands like pure hoarfrost hung from scalp and cheeks. His gaze was dark and sharp, and regarded Njal closely as Ulrich placed the skull trophy upon a podium at one side of the chamber.
Speak,
he said, crossing his arms over his broad chest. Njal was not sure where to start. Time to reveal yourself, the fool, Fenrisian oaf. Tell him of your folly. Njal's grimace betrayed him, and he spoke swiftly before Ulrich could react.
"I am hexed, Ulrich. I need your help."
Hexed.
Ulrich recoiled slightly, eyes narrowing. His fingers tightened on his arms, paling the skin where they clutched flesh.
"You are in no danger, I swear."
Ulrich's tight-lipped, venomous expression slightly argued that it was too late to make such a claim, but Njal pressed on.
"I have erred. Badly."
Ulrich listened without interruption, but his scowl deepened by the second as Njal's tale continued. The wolf priest's jaw worked, cheeks hollow as Njal then relayed Isakar's claim that Bulvai of the Old Guard were trapped with him. The Stormcaller finished with a half shrug, part apology and part entreaty.
Purge it,
said Ulrich.
You did not need to bring the state here to discover the truth. There is no good that comes from any other course.
But what of Bulvai and the—
Purge it!
Ulrich stepped closer, canines bared in a snarl of challenge, eyes fierce. You shall never enter the portal maze without my knowledge.
I hope that I can use what it knows to free our brothers.
Ulrich shook his head, his anger becoming sadness.
Hope. Are those your words or his that spill so easily from your lips?
Njal swallowed hard, and the Slayer read guilt in the Rune Priest's hesitancy to answer. The Slayer's ire returned.
This sorcerer need not possess you to control your body and mind, to turn it to his dark cause.
Dark cause? I was a bringer of light to many worlds, the lantern of the Emperor's wisdom. If anyone here was a darkness, it was the sons of Russ.
Shut up,
said Njal.
What?
Ulric's hand moved towards his croziers. The other bunched into a fist.
What did you say to me?
Not you, brother,
Njal said hurriedly, shaking his head as he retreated a step. He pointed to his temple in explanation.
Him.
You know what I will tell you, and I will tell you it again and again,
said Ulric, his tone bitter.
You knew before you came, yet you test me with this defiance. What else did you seek? Justification? Forgiveness? You have neither. You compound your error by entertaining any thought of alliance with this creature.
Creature? Indignity flooded Njal's thoughts, the vehemence of the response making him wonder if it was his or Isakar's. Its infection spurred his own frustration, which poisoned his following words.
You are right. I do not know what I thought I would gain from you. I had hoped you might share a measure of wisdom, not the spouted rhetoric of defunct priests.
The moment he closed his mouth, Njal regretted the outburst. Ulric's eyes widened. His face flushed. The Stormcaller opened his mouth to temper his accusation, but Ulric turned away, shoulders hunched, fists trembling. His next words came with much struggle.
Leave. Now.
The Slayer's wrath, though contained, burned in Njal's weird sight like a bright flame. As much as he hoped to make right the mistake he had made, any further words would only fuel Ulric's anger, not quench it. He had insulted Ulric's honor, an Utgelt that would be hard to restore. Njal certainly had no time for such reparations now, nor was Ulric in the mood to receive them. Ulric the Slayer serves as the High Chaplain of the Space Wolves chapter during the era Indomitus. Second only to the ancient dreadnoughts such as the Great Wolf, Björn the Fell-Handed in age, this ancient warrior, known by his kin as Grandfather Lupus, tends to the spiritual needs of his chapter. His tenure exceeding 700 Terran years of service, Ulric has fought battles in excess to even his High King, Logan Grimnar. His glories won during the First War for Armageddon as part of the Wolf Guard of Jarl Kruger's great company, legendary. Fighting against the World Eater's traitor legion during the campaign, Ulric's fury proved a match for even these butchers of the Blood God, outliving his own Wolf Lord as he fought in vain to prevent his death, killing 3 enormous berserkers as the spirit of the Thunderwolf seemed to imbue his every strike. Such was his fury, witnessed by the demon Primarch, Angron, during the skirmish. The fallen son of the Emperor himself saluted Ulric for his efforts, though the two would never clash personally, as the Grey Knights banished the Red Angel before Ulric could test his mettle. Known henceforth as the Slayer, in recognition of his slaughter, Ulric, though offered to command his fallen Jarl's great company in his stead, refused the honor due to his preference to fight alongside his kin, rather than lead them. Embarking upon the path of a wolf priest soon after the conclusion of the war, Ulric scrutinized several promising inductees to his chapter over the centuries, personally training many in the arts of war to best harness their talent. His mentorship legendary within the Vilka Fenrica, by far his greatest pupil would be Logan Grimnar. His rise to the position of High King, galvanized by the advisements of his teacher, who to this day regards the Great Wolf as a young pup despite his age. Ever more aggressive with seniority, the Slayer proclaims grand oaths as he embarks upon the field of battle, cutting down myriad foes with his croziers with little regard for his own safety. Enacting vengeance for slights made against the chapter made centuries prior. His purge of the Drukhari homunculi coven, known as the Hex, with aid from Eric Morkai, settled a score begun 350 years before its conclusion. Recognizing the spirit of Russ in each of his most promising sons, Ulric's summoned demeanor and intimidating visage, regardless, contrast with his duty to protect the innocent. Clad in grim black regalia, adorned with the wolf helm of Russ, this relic of the chapter is said to have been crafted by the Emperor's own artificers during the Legion of Old's founding. His wolf amulet, protecting his mortal body and effervescent soul from harm using its field generator combined with runic wards. His person also carries potions and balms to tend to the wounds of his kin, facilitated by his reductor, known as the Fang of Morkai. Knowing his remaining time to be short, due to his excessive age, even for an Astartes, Ulrich regardless fights with undiminished zeal. His counsel needed, as ever, with the dawn of the era Indomitus. Wary of the Primaris Space Marines, bequeathed by the avenging son of the Emperor, Rabute Guilliman with his arrival to the Fenris system, though urging Grimnar to reject their assimilation into the fold of the Rout, his High King nonetheless accepted them, begrudgingly. Continuing his duty to train the young pups of the Space Wolves despite his misgivings, the loyalty of the cantankerous slayer of the Vilka Fenrika is without question. His saga still sung within the feasting halls of the Aet, as the wolf time draws ever closer.